Today, finally, ESPN has decided that the year 2024 actually did exist. So often this season, whether it was the draft, All-Star game, so often they were comparing this year's numbers to 2023's numbers. Oh my gosh, but it's up if you compare it to 2 years ago. Well, it's down if you compare it to last year. A constant back and forth that we had with ESPN all season long. And you know what? Finally, we did it, folks. We did it. Yes, give yourselves a round of applause. ESPN has finally understood that they can't dance around this anymore. Just hold the L with 2024 and then just compare it to accept your L and then go and say all the positive things that you want to say after. No shame in that. No shame.
Everyone wanted her to save the league, but no one expected what came next. Caitlin Clark wasn't supposed to be just another basketball player. She was supposed to be the basketball player. The one who would lift the WNBA into mainstream, relevance, fill arenas, and finally bridge the gap between college hype and professional reality. And in a way, she did exactly that.
Last year, they put it all out. This year, very selective on the certain numbers that they made available to the public. We have to wait for ESPN to report it now. We have to wait for these networks to report it now. They don't give it to sports media anymore. They don't give it to TV ratings guy. They don't give it to any of these other programs anymore. Now they just gonna keep it close to the vest, sit behind the scenes, fluff up their numbers as much as they can, and then finally release something.
But she also exposed something much deeper, something the league wasn't ready to face. This is the story of how Caitlin Clark went from America's sweetheart to the most polarizing name in women's basketball. And the truth behind the whispers that she might be ready to walk away, for good. Before the controversies, before the headlines, before the drama, there was just Caitlin Clark, the girl from Iowa who could shoot from anywhere on the court. Her rise wasn't an accident. From the moment she stepped on the floor in college, fans saw something they hadn't seen before. Swagger, precision, confidence, and range that looked almost unfair. She wasn't just good. She was must-watch TV. Every game felt like a show. She broke records, she sold out arenas, and she made people who had never watched women's basketball tune in just to see what she'd do next. And as her highlights exploded across social media, Caitlin Clark became a brand. A symbol of what women's basketball could be. Exciting, marketable, and competitive. But fame doesn't come without pressure. The moment she entered the WNBA, everyone expected her to save it. And that's when things got complicated. The WNBA isn't college ball. It's faster, more physical, and filled with veterans who have spent years proving themselves. When Caitlin Clark entered the league, the hype followed her like a shadow. Every game was broadcast, every foul went viral, every word she said turned into a headline. And almost immediately, the tone shifted. Fans started noticing how rough her games were. Hard screens, elbows, extra contact, plays that felt personal. Commentators called it initiation. Others called it targeting. And then came the viral clips. Players shoving her, taunting her, crowds booing, others cheering louder just to drown it out. It became clear. Some players weren't just competing with Caitlin Clark. They were sending a message. Earn it. The fame doesn't make you one of us. The internet exploded. Half the fans defended her. Half said she needed to toughen up. But either way, everyone was watching. And that's when the WNBA realized they had a problem. For years, the WNBA had begged for more eyes, more attention, more respect. Now they had it, because of Caitlin Clark. But with that spotlight came chaos. Every headline, every argument, every highlight was suddenly about her. And while that might sound like a win, the league wasn't ready for the drama that followed. Veteran players spoke out. Some hinted that the media's obsession with Clark was disrespectful to others who had built the league. Others accused the coverage of favoritism, and fans started choosing sides. Protect Caitlin Clark. She doesn't need protection. She needs to play ball. Behind the scenes, league executives faced an impossible decision. Do they lean into the Caitlin Clark show, or try to keep the peace inside the locker rooms? Because if they didn't handle it right, they risked losing more than just a few games. They could lose the very players who made the WNBA what it is. And that's when rumors started spreading. Whispers that Caitlin Clark might not stay. At first, it sounded ridiculous. Caitlin Clark leaving the WNBA? Impossible. But then, reports surfaced. Sources claimed European clubs, especially in Italy and Turkey, were willing to offer her millions more than her rookie contract. And not just money, freedom, respect, a chance to play without the constant hostility, without the media war, without the weight of saving an entire league on her shoulders. Fans began asking, would she really go? After all, top WNBA players, like Brittany Griner and Brianna Stewart, had spent off-seasons overseas for years, because that's where the real money was. But Caitlin? Leaving this early would send shockwaves across the sport. Then one anonymous insider dropped a single line that set the internet on fire. She's thinking about it. And suddenly, it didn't seem so impossible anymore. Because when you're breaking your back for a league that doesn't always protect you, and another one is offering you more money, more support, and less hate, the decision starts to make sense. The only question left was, would she really do it? Every camera loves Caitlin Clark. Every headline uses her name. But behind that spotlight, she's still human. She's admitted it. The noise gets to her sometimes. The endless comparisons, the social media hate, the physicality that goes beyond basketball. She's had to learn how to block it out, how to focus on the game she loves without letting the chaos consume her. But even the toughest players have breaking points. The fame that once lifted her up started to weigh her down, and while she never complains publicly, you can see it. In her interviews, her body language, her responses. She's constantly trying to balance two worlds, being the hero that fans want her to be and the person who just wants to play basketball in peace. It's a battle most people will never understand, and yet somehow she keeps showing up. Then something shifted. Instead of running from the pressure, Caitlin leaned into it. She started playing even harder, smarter, tougher, sharper. Her numbers began climbing, her confidence returned, and the fans noticed. Sponsors lined up. Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, all fighting to be associated with her name. And suddenly, the narrative changed. The same league that once seemed to test her toughness was now celebrating her success. Ratings were breaking records, merchandise was selling out, arena attendance was climbing across the country. The message was clear. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA. And yet the question remained, could she carry that burden forever? The truth is, Caitlin Clark changed women's basketball forever. Whether she stays in the WNBA or not, she forced the league to evolve. She brought millions of new fans into the conversation. And she showed the world that one player's influence can be bigger than an entire organization's history. But that power comes at a price. Behind the highlight reels and sponsorships, she's walking a tightrope between love and hate, expectation and exhaustion. If she stays, she could redefine what it means to be a professional athlete in women's sports. If she leaves, she could spark a revolution that forces the league to finally pay attention to what its players deserve. Either way, Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the story. She is the story. Caitlin Clark's journey isn't over. It's only just beginning. She may not have asked to carry the weight of a league or to become the symbol of its success and its flaws, but here she is, doing it anyway. And whether people love her, hate her, or don't fully understand her, one thing is undeniable. Caitlin Clark changed the game. So the next time someone says she's overrated or that the hype's too much, just remember, you don't get this kind of reaction by being ordinary. Because legends, they don't just play the game, they rewrite it. This video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. All opinions expressed belong to their respective sources. We do not claim ownership of any third-party content used under fair use guidelines.